all the stress that I put myself through, I think was worth it. I got a bestsellers tag there, and that really accelerated things.
And shut my entire industry down. This week's video is a little different. I'm going to be talking to JerikaZimmerman and Tara Lee about all things business and YouTube. Before we started recording this, my light broke, so I excuse the poor lighting, and also we were having Wi-Fi issues throughout. I've tried to edit it the best I can. Hopefully you'll still enjoy it, but let's get on with the chat. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. I think there's some sort of important things we can chat about that will hopefully help some people. So it's very unlikely that they'll not know who you are because I'm the little guy here. But if you want to introduce yourselves, so if we come to Jerika first.
Before I do that, thank you so much, Jenna, for organizing this. I think this is such a great topic to talk about. I'm really glad to be here. But my name's Jerika, and I run a YouTube channel called the JerikaZimmerman YouTube channel, where I talk about bath bombs, soap making, lotion making, all that kind of stuff. But I also talk about the soap business side of things as well. And that's because I run my own soap business, and I have been doing that for about 7 years now, and have been sharing the journey the whole time. So that's what my audience has been built on, has been sharing that journey.
Cool. Yeah. And Tara?
Okay, well, my name's Tara, and my channel is Tara Lee Skincare on YouTube, and I make skincare products and basically just share with people what I learn about formulating along the way, and just, I don't know, answer any questions that people have about formulating. But I'm not a chemist, I'm just self-taught. And
same.
I used to have a business, but I closed that. And yeah, that's me.
Cool. Well, I'm sure you know all about them because I'm sure that you've looked at their channels more than mine. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a self-taught formulator. I started off as a hairdresser, and I used to make hair extensions for the alternative community, and I couldn't get hold of what I needed. So I sourced it in, and I started a business supplying braiding hair and having that services business. Until Brexit, which you may or may not have heard of, where the UK left the EU, and that had a massive effect on currency, which basically wiped out my profit margins because I was buying in from China, and I had to shut that down. I then kind of concentrated on the hairdressing, and I was all through this doing cosmetics as just a hobby. And I started to set up a new business selling human hair extensions and professional extensions. And I actually went over to China in May 2019 to source and talk to the factory. And I came back with lots of stock and everything and started that business. And then the pandemic happened and shut my entire industry down. And it never really recovered because of cost of living following that. I sort of pivoted sort of as the pandemic started, and ended up doing the cosmetics thing and started a YouTube channel purely because that was where marketing was going. And being quite old, that was, well, not old, but in my 40s, that was quite a scary prospect because it's a lot of young people on YouTube. So I'm still battling with that a bit because I'm very introverted and I am quite camera shy. But actually I do think it's the dream job, because if you had all of your subscribers outside your window right now, you'd be freaked out. But if you're just talking to a camera, it's fine. Anyway, that's where I am. And I basically concentrate on YouTube and Patreon, and I am in the process of getting some products ready to launch, which is a bit more complicated over here because of all the regulations. But I wanted to talk to you both about sort of your business journeys and just basically give my 3 points of advice to anyone starting a business, which I have written down so I didn't forget. Number 1 being to write a business plan. Number 2 being to compile a cash flow and forecast your sales a little bit so you can plan ahead. But the most important thing, which kind of goes with you two talking about business growth is an exit strategy, because people go into businesses and they don't know what they're going to do at the end. Like, are they going to sell it? Are they going to just close it and sell all their stock? Like, what's going to happen? Because I've had to have multiple exit strategies in the last
Yeah, and it's a whole thing,
10
and it's
years.
something you really don't think about at all.
Yeah. So the first thing I was going to ask is, Tara, why, if you could tell everyone why you closed your business,
All
at
right,
least the
this is
product
something
side
I
of it.
did take notes on. So there is like a lot of different reasons why I closed. But I think I'll start with, like, I guess the most relatable things that other people can relate with, and then get to the more personal reasons why.
Sure.
But the biggest reason why I did end up closing is because I just learned a lot about formulating since I initially launched all my products. And I wasn't passionate about what I was selling. I wanted all those to be reformulated, which added to like that's a huge workload that I now have to deal with. So that was one thing. It was too much work for just me, because not only was I doing my business, which became a full-time job, but I was also doing YouTube along with Patreon, which go hand in hand together. And that has now become a full-time job. And then splitting myself into two was starting to become way too much for me. And I think it's something a lot of people can do, but it was just something that I was tired of doing, I guess. And it just became too much work for me. So at that point I was like, okay, I need to hire people, or I need to change something. So
Yeah.
I never did hire people, because I ended up, this is where I guess not most people can relate with, but I started getting bad health because last year, so around the beginning of 2023, it was January or February, I just woke up one day and I couldn't use my right arm anymore. So then I was like, okay, well now I need to try to do this with one arm. And then a couple of days later passed, and then I couldn't use my other arm. So that, I can talk about that for a long time, but I'm going to keep it short. Basically, I ended up needing to get surgery, had to stop doing YouTube. But prior to that, when I just realized I couldn't use my arms anymore, I'm like, I need to choose YouTube or this business. And I picked YouTube and did the business. And that was when I decided to focus on my health. But basically, overall, after I went through all of that last year, what I realized is that if I wanted to keep both of those things in my life, the YouTube and the business, I would have had to make a lot of changes, which either was hire people for my business, scale up, get a bigger facility, or do something like what Jerika's doing, which I really like. And that's what I would have initially done, which is basically scale everything down, sell like not custom, but like just something you love, you make it, you sell it. Once it's gone, it's gone. And then, but with all the health issues I was going through, I couldn't do that along with YouTube. So I basically just picked one, and I picked the YouTube and quit doing the business, because YouTube is what I enjoyed the most. And I think it's honestly far less stressful than doing a business, even though YouTube is a business in itself, but it's not a product-based business.
Yeah. And did you find
Also,
people got a bit confused with that on YouTube? Did
with
they
what
think
exactly?
that you closed the whole business?
Oh yeah, so many people are like, oh,
Yeah.
goodbye. I hope you do well in your next thing. I'm like, no, this is my next thing. This is what I'm still doing. But also overall, I think this is a whole other topic we could get into, but just like the responsibilities with a business, if you are to scale up, you have responsibility over people's income now, because now you have to make sure you make enough to pay them, not just yourself.
I've
that
been
adds
there
a lot
and
of
done
stress.
that. And
Yeah.
it's expanding too quickly is a thing.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of stress at one point. I think it was around 2000, and I had a kind of F it kind of mentality. Let's just go for it. And an opportunity came to rent premises above where I was doing my little hairdressing. I get brain fog a lot, so I will pause. I'm sorry.
I do too.
Same.
Terrible. Yeah, I had it. Basically, I started off in self-storage, and next to that was another facility where they had Pilates classes and everything, and they had a little room that I turned into a salon. And then upstairs they had sort of a warehousey bit, and the opportunity came up to rent that, and I decided to do that and hire a friend and it was great for a while, but we got scammed.
Oh my gosh.
We lost about 7 grand and therefore couldn't pay for the stock that was already in transit and had to pay for it again. But the timing of all my stock coming in was very specific as well. So that arriving late threw everything off as well. And it was kind of like the beginning of the end for that. And then having to pay my friend as a member of staff as well whilst all that was going on. It's so stressful.
It sounded stressful just listening to
You
gosh.
just have to have such a buffer money wise. You have to have such
Yes. Yeah.
a like robust plan if you're going to hire people, because you are responsible for their income. So I
That
totally
just
get
sounds like
where you're
so
coming
much
from.
stress.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. So Jerika, do you want to tell us a bit about sort of, you coined the term enoughness, which I quite like. What were you getting at with that?
It's basically just running a small business on your own terms and not looking to other businesses and thinking that you're not operating well or you're not a good small business owner because your small business doesn't look like their small business. You could be doing just fine and not even know it and feel inadequate based on somebody else and someone else's journey. And I thought that was
Yeah.
ridiculous because it's easy to get sucked into that, especially when the first experience people have when they enter the world of soap making or the DIY world is seeing someone's business on YouTube or on social media. But by that point, they've already grown enough so that the algorithm has shown them to you. So it's hard not to start comparing yourself to them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to promote a different kind of lifestyle where you learn at your own pace and not push yourself too far, because I've been there. I've had viral Etsy listings where I jumped from an order a day to 12 to 20 in one day. And I thought at the time, I have to respond. I have to put on my small business girl pants on and do something. So I told my husband to quit his job so that we can go in on it, go all in, just like you did, Jenna. And we were doing it. We were getting packages out, but I was so miserable the whole time. It didn't make sense. My house was a huge mess. My
Oh, you
work-life
should
balance
have
throws that out the
seen.
door.
You should see, I
Yeah.
had a living, we had a 2-bed flat, and it was, I used to use, do you get those in supermarkets, those vegetable boxes, the cardboard stackable boxes?
Yeah.
So I used to go to supermarkets and steal all of those
Same. I went through that
Yes.
same phase.
and
Yeah.
stack them up. My entire living room almost was full of boxes, my spare room, our bedroom, everything. And I was getting so many orders at one point, but you don't
Yeah.
recognize it because you're so in the stress. You're just
Yes.
you're thinking about how you're going to pay all your bills and how you're going to
Yeah.
get all the products out the door. And
Yeah.
I think what I realized, because I think I could do it quite well now, but I was 20 when I started my business. So like social media didn't exist, lots of things didn't exist, everything was done very differently. And I took out loans. I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to scale it. And I just thought you're supposed to grow as big as you possibly can and just keep going. And it got to a point where I would have been almost have been over trading. I had to scale it back a number of times. So I get why you're doing what you're doing. And are you
Yeah.
enjoying, like, what are you both enjoying what you're doing now?
Yes.
Yeah.
so much
Definitely.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
going through that, I also learned that I'm not a good employer, since I tried to employ my husband and that was a disaster.
I don't think I would be a
I
good
can't manage
employer
people.
either.
Yeah, I just can't manage them. And if, like, I don't know how to deal with a person who's not as super passionate about what I'm doing as I am. So it's like, I can't change who you are. And he still works
Yeah.
for the business in a smaller capacity, but it got to a point where I told him, no, like, you,
Okay.
I think you'll be better served doing something else, working under a different boss, because that's not me.
That actually answers a question that one of my Instagram followers asked, and they said, please ask Jerika if she misses working with Kale.
Aww.
No. No. And that's the thing too. If you are pushing yourself so much that you're compromising the quality of your products and who you are as a business owner and the quality of your personal relationships, that's a signal that you should probably slow down, hire people, or if you don't want to hire people, find a way to make it work. And it wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
Love him.
It's difficult when you want to make your own products and and people like them.
Yeah.
So actually, it's kind of a good point to ask Tara. Someone asked you, would you bring your products back again if someone else manufactured them for you?
Oh yeah. Okay. I've been thinking about that question because you mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I think that question's not easy for me to answer. Because I don't, as of now, no, but I don't know what I'm going to want to do in the future. But like also at the same time, I think what it would depend on is if I had like, it would depend on a lot of things because I would need to know if that manufacturer is like paying fair wages and stuff. So if I did have someone manufacture a product, I would need to look into like their ethics too. But also at the same time, I just don't know if people would want product that's highly manufactured rather than made by me. And I don't even know if that's something I would have enough passion behind. It would probably be something that like maybe I would do later in life when I like almost kind of like want to low-key retire and I'm like, okay, I have these like great formulas I want to share with people and like maybe something like that. But also I'm not fully against it. I don't know. But something for basically now, no.
I think the thing I've realised through doing YouTube is that marketing's the opposite way round. So whereas before social media existed, I would make a product and then I would go out and market it. And when I first started it, we had MySpace, we had LiveJournal, and we had internet forums and then word of mouth. And you'd make your product and then you'd use all those. Whereas now, if you get a YouTube channel, you almost do YouTube first, and then people want to buy from you because it's you. So
I've heard
I want this product because it's Jerika or Tara, you know?
Yeah.
I've heard that's even how it is in the music industry now. They want their people who are get signed to a label, they need to grow on social media before a label will even sign them. So it seems like it's like that in a lot of fields. Like you have to become a personality, a brand on your own and then launch a brand under your own personal brand or something.
Yeah. It's so strange. It's such a shift from where I started and trying to get used to that as well when
I couldn't
a
even
lot
imagine
of the people
like
doing it are so much younger.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine having a business without being able to go on social media and promote it. It sounds that would be such a unique experience that I wouldn't know.
I think I was quite lucky because I was a bit of a goth when I was in my 20s. So I had there was a forum for that kind of thing and sort of alternative fashion, alternative hair extensions and things. So when I started supplying that stuff, all I had to do really was post on that forum and then it sort of naturally spiraled. But I don't necessarily think you could do that now just because of the sheer amount of people doing different things. You have to really hone in on your unique selling point. And I think a lot of people have trouble finding that. Whereas I think when you're on YouTube, that's almost what gives you your unique selling point because people get to know you and then that's why they want your product. Because I mean, seeing the evolution of your products, Jerika, it's like from what you've done to now is just, it's crazy, but you're always so spot on with your branding.
I try to be, but like most people, I'm learning on the fly. Like I have an English literature degree. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is when they see people like Tara or, you know, Marie from Humble Bee and Me, they don't understand all the work behind it and how hard people have worked to get to that point. And I mean, I'm speaking just for myself. I'm a mediocre person. Like I'm not particularly talented or smart. I'm just super persistent and curious. And, you know, I mean, the more you do something, the more you read about something, all this information, which is available online, if you really put in the time for free. Anyone can do what I do or what Tara does. It's just a matter of sticking to something long enough. And I think that's why it's important to do it in a sustainable way where you're not burning out. Because if you pace yourself, you can really take yourself to crazy places. Yes.
Yeah. So what, Are you enjoying your YouTubing Patreon now, Tara? Are you feeling better health-wise and sort of getting back in the swing of it now?
I mean, as of right now, I've got like my physical health pretty together now. Like I know the routine I need to do. Now it's just to get myself mentally back in the swing of things. Honestly, that's where I'm at now, but I am enjoying it a lot more. It's a lot less stressful, and I feel like I'm actually here. Like before, I felt like I was never actually online, even though I was posting more online. Now I feel like I'm actually online. I'm actually part of the community. I'm like just more aware of what I'm doing every day rather than just waking up, fighting my way through everything that needs done, not really focusing on like I don't know, just like the community. Like I feel like I can keep up with what's going on more every day. And I enjoy that a lot more.
That's kind of what I wanted to do a bit with this chat, is just kind of bring the community together, and it's like we lift each other up.
This was my goal for the year. I was like, when I return to YouTube, I want to be more of like a person in the community, talk with people, leave comments on people's posts instead of just like scrolling through, maybe liking a few or like not even getting on. Like I wouldn't even scroll through like my business Instagram page like ever because I didn't have time. So I just never got to see like what everyone else was doing. And now I feel like I'm part of the
time
community.
management is a big thing. Yeah. I think
Huge,
people need to get used to that and realize that there's such a thing called busy work, where you just do stuff that doesn't push the business forward or doesn't do anything for your mental health. You're just busy. But I think as long as you start doing things that you enjoy and that are sort of adding to your brand and stuff, you just generally feel a bit happier. I had a bit of a beaker accident earlier, so I got past it. I smashed my first beaker in the new house.
Oh my goodness!
We've got tiled floors everywhere, so it was just. But anyway, it's a weird one. I think people get a bit intimidated, and someone has actually asked. They said, "Is all the stress worth it?"
I would say, if you are able to manage your stress and listen to yourself and understand that you're able to dial up or dial down as you choose, you are in control ultimately. There's no one forcing you to do anything or to operate your business in a way that doesn't feel comfortable to you. Once you understand that, then you can continue. And I do think that small steps, even if it's 1% more better than the day before, that'll keep you going. It'll keep you progressing. Just because it doesn't look like another business's progress, it doesn't mean you're not progressing. You still are.
Yeah, exactly. And Tara, has it been worth it for you given the health issues and everything?
Oh gosh. Okay. I just feel like I could go on so many tangents that take us different directions with all these questions. But I'm trying to like hone it in.
It's fine.
I was just gonna say, like, I mean, if we didn't live in a world of capitalism, I don't think it would have been worth it. But since money basically rules everything, it was worth it. Because I make more money now doing what I do than I think I could have made doing relatively like anything else. Not anything else. Like,
agreed.
I would have had to go to college for a good while to be able to make the amount of money I'm making now. So all the stress that I put myself through, I think was worth it. But I think I'll really, truly only know if it's worth it when I see how long my social media presence can stay alive, I guess. Like, if it dies next year, maybe it would be worth it. I don't know. I think the stress is worth it. Overall,
the type of content you post is evergreen, so there are going to be people finding you and watching you going forward, unless you go back and get embarrassed and delete things.
Yeah.
I do go back and delete videos when I realize that the information is wrong. I will go back like every couple years and check out my videos, and I'll be like, okay, that should be deleted because it's pretty inaccurate information. But yeah,
that's something I think people don't get, actually. I think a lot of people assume because we're on the internet that every word we say is gospel, but we are self-taught. And I have to keep reiterating that to people.
Yeah.
And
I
think
mistakes,
it's like you're sharing your learning journey.
Quick question for Tara, actually. I was curious how long you have been doing this. How long have you been doing
2016.
YouTube and all of this? Wow.
2016 was when I started Etsy. And then when I started YouTube, 2014. That might be
Wow.
right. I think it
Oh,
was December
gosh.
2014 because I started like shortly after I graduated high school just because I was like I wanted to meet people around the world and I was like just like not happy and I was like, "Oh, I should start a YouTube channel." And I just started making like lifestyle videos. Like it wasn't even about making skincare products. And then I was just like commenting on other small YouTubers and I was just making friends like that way and we text each other. And then I made a DIY honey and brown sugar body scrub because I was making my own homemade skincare at that point, but I just wasn't posting about it. But I shared one of the recipes and it did really well. It got like, I think like
Nice.
3.5 thousand views, which was a lot for me at that time. And I was like,
Yeah.
which actually that's pretty good for me now. But at that time I was like, holy crap.
That would be amazing for me.
Well, right now, that's about the average I'm getting is 3.5. But I posted that and I was like, oh, wow, this did really well. So then I was like, maybe I need to like narrow in on my niche more. And then I realized just natural skincare in itself was like blowing up anyways on the internet. So I was like, okay, this is my niche because that's what I was into at the time. And then that's
Amazing.
I think I ended up like deleting all the like lifestyle videos. I even went on like a cross country trip and I vlogged that too. That was on my channel a long time ago too. But that's all gone also. Like I did a lot on YouTube
Okay.
before I started doing like DIY skincare.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And how
Yeah,
did
a
you,
lot of
where did you
Sorry.
start? Sorry, I'm just interested in your
Yeah, when did you
Oh,
start?
really?
start on YouTube. Yeah.
I think it was 2020 when I really started to do YouTube. I think I posted a video
2020?
a year before that. Yeah.
I
It
swear
was the
I
pandemic
feel like
times.
you've been on. Yeah, I swear you've been on before 2020.
She's just
Uh,
done really well, really quick, haven't you? Like
well,
your
that's
growth was really quick.
I feel like I remember
well,
seeing you before that though.
I do remember it was the year that the pandemic happened or something like that, where my Etsy blew up because I think because of the pandemic. And I hadn't been posting regularly on YouTube until the following fall of that year. And then that's when my bath bomb video did really well. And then that year, my YouTube channel did grow really fast. And I haven't been able to replicate that same growth since.
It was
And
a
it's been,
good time
I
to do it.
grew
Yeah.
yes.
I grew a
Yeah.
lot in
I
2022
missed that
and
boat. I was too shy.
yeah,
Sorry.
2020 was just great for our entire brand. And that's when I blew
think
up
so.
too, was 2020. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to
Yeah.
replicate that same growth pattern since then either.
Yeah, I think it's really hard in our niche to be able to get the numbers consistently because of how topic specific DIY skincare is, because people might find you because of a sugar scrub video, but then you post a lotion making video and it's hard to keep it consistent. So don't worry about your
Yeah,
numbers.
because
I
like
think you're
we
doing
think those
amazing.
are like I feel like those are so like the same, but to other people it's not. It's like no, they want to make a sugar scrub, but they don't want to make a lotion. But to me, I'm like, why wouldn't you want to make a lotion?
I know, right? It all
Like, go
relates.
for it.
It's all
Yeah.
scrubs at the moment.
It really is.
Yeah, I've
Scrubs
gone
are just
through-
like bath products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone through that same feeling of looking at views. To the point I was talking to Marie about this too. We used to live really close to each other in Calgary when I lived there for a year. And we spoke about how hard it is to post on YouTube this kind of subject matter because it can be so hit or miss. And it's for me, I've stopped looking at that 1 out of 10 thing that you
Oh
see
my
on the
gosh, I
dashboard.
hate that.
Yeah.
Whenever I go on the
Thing's
dashboard, I
the
literally
worst.
block it. I block it. I don't look at it. I can't because it will ruin my entire day, entire week,
Oh.
really.
Yeah, it ruins my day all the
can't.
time.
Yeah, I've started to just focus on making content that I really like making, and
I think I've
it's
just
been a lot better.
I've just got to an age now where I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, the older you get, the more you care, the less you care what other people think about these numbers. You
really,
just
like-
get on with it.
Even when a video does do bad in that, like the ranking of 1 to 10, sometimes I'll notice
Yeah.
like the video like 3 months later, even a year later will
Yes.
blow up. Because that's happened to me
Exactly.
before. So you
That's
just
why
don't
that
know
number
what people
doesn't make
want.
sense. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it-
it's really hard
I
to figure
quite
out
like-
how our algorithm works.
I don't think anyone
really
will ever
weird.
know.
At least not with our like
Yeah.
how-to content.
No, I quite like vlog content. I'm
I
rubbish
love
at making it,
vlogs.
but
They're fun,
I do
yeah.
like Jerika's. I think it was your Vlogmas 2022. It was how I found you, and I binge watched that. It was keeping me motivated. But
Yeah.
it's just I like because I enjoy cooking as well, and you see kind of things about other people that are similar to yourself, and it's just kind of nice, especially when you live in another country as well. It's nice seeing how other people in other countries sort of live their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's a great
I
way to
don't know.
build community. Yeah.
It is, and I wonder if you find do vlogs do better or worse for either of you?
For
I'll
me,
let Jerika answer
the how
first.
the how-to content is exactly as Tara described. It'll when you first post it, how well it does is so random, and then sometimes they'll continue to build and become evergreen, and sometimes they won't. Whereas I find vlog content, now that I've built a bit of an audience that is curious about how I'm doing and want to follow up with my day-to-day, they do better in the beginning than the how-to stuff. So it's hard to find that balance, or it's like, what do you do? Do you post a how-to video that will continue to gain views over time, but you have to get over that little bit of disappointment, like, oh, this flopped? Or do you post something that is appreciated right away so you can move on to the next project? It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I personally, I like filming and editing the vlogging stuff way more. The how-to stuff takes so much. It's hard.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough.
All the multiple
Yeah.
beaker angles and
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's hard to make that stuff interesting. Tara, you are a master at that.
Well, I
You're
was
really
gonna
good at
say,
making that stuff interesting.
well, thank you. I was
you're
gonna say I
amazing.
hate editing the vlogs, but I like editing the recipe videos. So I'm the opposites.
Oh yeah.
The vlogs
it
are
speaks
just
to
so
everyone's
like
different.
unhinged to me. Like I'm like, okay, there's too much going on. This isn't what I'm used to. And the recipe videos I already know what I was expecting. So like I'm editing something that I'm more used to, and I don't know, it's less stressful to me. And then I can like edit the
Yeah.
recipe videos while watching something, as opposed to the vlog, I have to watch the vlog. So that's why I like editing recipe videos, not the vlogs. But I do like recording vlogs probably more than the recipe videos. Just because I like having someone to talk to while I'm doing what I'm doing, even though there's no one actually there until I upload it.
yeah.
But to
Yeah, that's
answer the
relatable.
question, what I like about the vlogs is that it connects me with my community more. As opposed to a recipe video, no one really has anything to comment on a recipe video other than like, oh, good job, I really like this recipe. Kind of like things you're already expecting to get comments of. But then when you post a vlog, you can get this like really like heartfelt comment from someone, which you still get on recipe videos, but it's not as curated to the specific thing you were talking about in the vlog. So you feel much more connected to people with vlogs. And I notice vlogs get more interaction. They get more comments from people as opposed, and the watch time is longer on vlogs too, I've noticed, which tells me that people are more interested as opposed to a recipe video. I think they're often used as just like someone to click on, see what the recipe is, and then maybe click away or save it depending on if they like it or not. So they're not actually here to get entertained and have a good time, as opposed to vlogs. So what I like to post more would probably be vlogs, but it's not what I do more of because I haven't uploaded a vlog in a long time. But I think they're more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are when you can film them well. I need to get better at the whole filming thing, but
I
I've
just
got some
need
better
to do it
equipment
because
now,
I'm
so-
always just, it sounds like I have to put on a face every time I go to vlog, and I'm just like, no, I don't need to do that. I can just be who I am. Like, so it's hard to pick up a camera on some days when you don't want to like show face.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
here's
get
the
that.
question then. What advice would you give to someone out there that has a skincare business and they want to do what you're doing? So they want to YouTube it and sell their products or not sell their products. Like what advice would you give them? What would be your top 3 tips?
Jerika, you want to go first?
Or don't, if that's an annoying question.
No, it's not
I think
annoying.
that's a good
It's
question.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
don't.
just thinking there's a lot of people. I get a lot of questions. How do I start? How do I do what you do? And they know nothing. And obviously, with me, the first go-to is all the regulations. But if you're in
Okay,
America, yes, you've got Mokra, but you haven't quite got what we've got. So you're more free to just create. So
Yeah.
based on that, what would you tell them?
who is this person that's getting started? Do they have a business? Are they doing YouTube? Which is it?
They're making skincare, but they also want to do YouTube, get into YouTube as well.
So they're doing opening up a business too,
Yeah,
like selling products.
yeah.
Oh gosh, okay.
Okay. I can start.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why this is so hard. It's like such a.
Purely
There's
because
so
I didn't even
many,
ask
there's
this
so
question.
many things I want to say, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to like put
Same.
it into a
It's
sentence.
it's because when people ask me this question via DMs, I will get your names come up, and they will be, I want to start a business like Tara, like
Okay.
Jerika, like me, whatever. How do I do that?
I think the reason why I'm struggling with answering this question because I don't think people want to know the real answer,
Yeah.
which
And
is
also my answers
That's
like,
the
changed
important answer.
over the years.
yes, yeah. It's hard to tell somebody that it's going to take you a really long time, and what you want
Yeah.
isn't. You can't just follow a step-by-step notebook. It's
Yeah.
because I've evolved over the years, and this has been over a decade in the making to get to where I am.
Basically, if you're going to start, okay, start selling anhydrous products. If you're going to be selling, if you're going
good
talking
one.
business, if you're going to start your own skincare brand, find an anhydrous product that you really, really love, like a scrub or something that you can make over and over and over again that you're not going to get tired of. Think of different ways how you can take that one product and market it different ways. So if we are doing a scrub, pick your one product that you can do different fragrances, different colors in. So your brand only has one product, but it's perceived to have many other products. And then that's just one thing you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about microbial contamination as much, like it growing gross stuff, preservatives. You don't have to worry about that as much, but you should have a preservative in a scrub, but you don't have to worry about it once your customers have it as much. So if you are going to start, I would pick one product that's easy to manufacture. Just do that, market as much as you can of that product. And then for YouTube, just show the journey of everything you go through, show any mess ups, whatever you learn, share that.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're starting off, having a product that you know really well is probably the first thing, and not only how to make it, but how it's going to react in shipment, how it's going to last on your shelf. Like knowing that product inside and out is going to be your number one. Before you even start selling it, you just got to know it. And I feel like a lot of people make their first product and they like it and then they want to sell it right away. And I think it's good to just pump the brakes a bit and really spend the time to do that research and development. It's absolutely necessary. And so I agree with you there.
Something else I was going to mention is like what my answer used to be for like someone who wanted to start a brand is like do all the research you possibly can, learn everything about formulating. But I don't think that anymore because now I've realized that the biggest skincare beauty brands, the CEO or owner literally knows nothing about formulating. They're just good at finding who's good at what they want them to do. Yeah. So if you don't want to learn everything about formulating, you just need to make sure you're picking good people to hire to formulate your products. Yes. So you don't have to learn everything. You just need to know how to find the people who can do it if you don't want to learn. And that's something that I never really realized when I was younger. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't realize that. I just thought I had to do it all.
This is where the UK has something that I don't know if you guys have this, but because we need product safety assessments before we can sell a product, there are companies that will now create them for you, so they'll be pre-assessed. Because if I made a body butter and I wanted to get it assessed ready for sale, it would cost me upwards of £180 most likely for just that one, and then every scent variation of that would be another £50, for instance, and it just keeps going, and then you can see how expensive it gets. That's for anhydrous products. So if you have something with water, then you have to get it challenge tested, which is about £300 per product, and the costs just spiral. And you've got to do stability and all of this before you can even sell anything. So there are companies that will do all this in advance using Stevenson's bases most of the time, and allow for the purchaser to follow a recipe exactly and to add fragrance and colour. And they're called flexi assessments, so you can use up to 10 different fragrances and various colours. You can mix the colours, but you can't mix the fragrance in the same product. And then that's sold for a lesser price because the company has already bought the assessment initially, and then they pass a discount on to you because they make it back in volume. And that's a quick way to market for anyone that wants to, say, sell a whipped soap or a body butter. They can make it very quickly from a recipe with no formulation knowledge and know that technically it's safe to sell. But obviously it depends on GMP and all of this stuff. But then we've got other regulations to follow. But it's something that people can do if they don't want to learn formulating. And I'm kind of on the fence as to whether I like that or not. But I sometimes think it's a gateway into people wanting to learn more, because once they've made one of those products, they want to learn a bit more about formulation. But it's a weird world over here.
Yeah, it's like an easy stepping stone for people to get into it too, so they don't feel as like, they feel like they got something accomplished by doing it that way, so that makes them encouraged to try again since they accomplished the first thing. So I could see that being handy.
Yeah. Because anhydrous products, like most people over here, will start with them because of the cost, and it's just easier. But I am jealous of you just being able to do like, this is what I've done this month. Here you go, buy it.
Yeah, we can't do many
that.
things.
Yeah, you can pivot like crazy over here.
Yeah,
like all the things you make every month, Jerika, and you're like, oh, this is what I've made this month, and I'm like, I couldn't do that. It'd be costing me a fortune.
Another thing I would say to people asking about wanting to do what Tara does or what I do is to ask themselves, what is it exactly they want? Do they want a super successful cosmetics business, or do they want a super successful YouTube channel? Because those are different sometimes, and because it's hard to split yourself into those two roles and do it in a way that's balanced. I know for me, like Tara, I've chosen more of a YouTube lane where I do sell soap, but it's more, it's kind of like my side, and I want to focus more on the YouTube and the Patreon. And you have to make a choice like that. Yeah,
that is the reason you've been able to scale back, because you've got the income from the other things. But if you didn't have YouTube and Patreon, you probably need to push the product selling business a bit harder. Do you think?
Yes. Yeah. For sure. And that's another piece of advice, is if you want to do this and make it your income, is you have to make sure that you have other things in place so that you're not solely relying on just one egg in one basket. Like I had to have a conversation with my husband that I don't think I like the pressure of relying on just my income for our family. And we had to look at each other and say, okay, one of us has to get the 9 to 5. So that's what he's done. And that has also relieved so much pressure off of myself. So that's another piece of advice.
I think that's a good idea.
Jump into this. Yeah, totally.
Because that's a big reason we've never had my boyfriend quit his job, because we've had discussions like that, and we always say, well, your job is the security job, mine's the gambling job.
Yes,
because you never know if it's going to be here tomorrow. So like I totally get why you decided to do that. There's a huge sense of security there, even though like even traditional jobs aren't always 100% secure, but they feel more secure than what we do.
I've had part-time jobs at the same time as well, just occasionally if I feel I need to, and I'm lucky that he has a good job as well, but I get guilt about it because I feel like I'm having fun.
That's how I felt at first, because he let me quit my job to do this. Like I saved like X amount of money, and then like when I reached like X amount of sales on Etsy a month, I was like, okay, I'll quit then. And I reached those X amount of sales and I quit, and he sort of took on like the expenses more. But I mean, he's glad I did that, because now here we are and I'm able to take on more of the expenses. So
Yeah.
It worked out for him.
Well, you're both
Yeah.
doing really well. It's really good. And someone was asking, so I've got sort of just a few more questions and a few little
Sure.
comments. So someone says, it seems quite expensive to start. Would you recommend getting a loan to start?
No.
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 No
That'd be
loan.
the same answer.
I do think loans have
Yeah.
a place, and in a lot of business models, you have to do that, especially if you are wanting to scale quickly. That's totally a route that you have to take to be able to do that.
Depending on the business, I think I made a mistake. Definitely.
Depending on the business,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I've seen soap makers do that, where they're wanting to scale as quickly as possible. They do the loan thing, and it seems to be working out for them. So it can work. You just have to have the right personality for it and the right drive.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about being focused on your goals. Like, what do you actually want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've both done wholesale, haven't you? Someone was asking about wholesale, and would you recommend it?
Yeah. I think it's an important revenue stream. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is she talking about wholesaling? Not bulk, right? Wholesale.
Yeah,
Like
they've said
her
wholesale.
selling
so,
to like her selling to another like small shop for them to sell them there.
Yeah.
That's like necessary for a business almost.
I would say that it's good to find quality customers though, because I had a few that I just didn't vibe with as a business owner. So it's good to be selective, especially if you're doing this by yourself, like I was doing. You got to know where to put your time and make sure that the customer you're working with is a good customer. So I only take on very few wholesale customers, but the ones that I have, I've had for a while. Yeah.
Yeah,
And also,
I had a bad habit.
another thing-
You can keep going.
I was just going to add also, if you're wholesaling a product, make sure it's a product that you like to make a lot of and can make a lot of at once. Because the wholesale customer that I didn't like wanted to wholesale shampoo bars, and I hate making shampoo bars, and that made my life miserable. So I don't do that anymore. Go ahead here.
Yeah, that would be hard. I was just going to say, I had a bad habit of just saying yes to everything there for a while.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Same.
So I think saying no to like being selective of your wholesale customers is like a really good idea. Because if you just say yes to everybody, you will find there are some customers that are way more stressful to deal with than other ones.
Yeah.
No, I'd agree with that. Plus, the whole white label wholesale thing is more complicated here because of having to report things on the cosmetic portal and who the responsible person is, and there's a whole thing. So if you're doing it in the UK, then you need to be aware of that. Someone had actually asked how they sell their products in the UK, and I'm just going to say, look at my channel, because there's lots of stuff on regulation. And I do see a lot of people in the US and other countries selling their products to the UK, and they're not labeled correctly, and this, that, and the other. And just if you are in the US and you are watching this, go and check out my channel, because you really, really, really don't want to get a fine or worse. So yeah. Fun times. The other question, someone, I have to look at the wording of it. Basically, they're asking about how you work out your numbers to make a profit.
Oh.
And so I think everyone seems to have their own system for doing this. How do you guys do yours?
I have a pretty simple COGS spreadsheet where I just input all the ingredients in, and it's all this math, I guess.
Yeah.
But I basically figure out how much it costs me and materials to make the thing. And I factor in the time, I factor in me as a person making it, my value that I add to the product, and all the little things that it's hard to know the exact cost of as well. And as long as there's a really good, I think times 4 is the industry standard, but it can go much higher than that. It can go times 10 sometimes, but whatever makes sense to you, that's how I figure it out. Like if it costs me $4 to make one thing, I'm not going to sell it if just the industry price is $10.
I can't believe you've only been doing it since 2020, or at least with YouTube. I really thought you've been around a lot longer. Oh, just the YouTube part of it?
Just the YouTube part. I've been selling soap, I think, since 2017. I don't know.
Yeah.
The numbers could be. Yeah.
When did you start your
But the
Etsy?
YouTube part, I think the year before. 2020. Yeah. Or was it sooner than that? I don't even remember. But I do know I didn't get many sales at all in 2019. I think I got like a sale a month on Etsy. And I would go in there and fix up photos every now and then. But it was literally Mother's Day around, it's like April, when I saw an uptick. And it was definitely because my listing hit the algorithm just right in Etsy. And I got a bestsellers tag there, and that really accelerated things. And I couldn't keep up with it.
Wow.
So, yeah, it fizzled out. Yeah.
Crazy. Do you think YouTube had
that was
something to
that
do with
2020 rush.
So that was before my YouTube channel took off. Was that Easter. So it wasn't my YouTube channel. It was literally just Etsy's algorithm helping me out a whole bunch.
Nice. It's what everyone wishes for, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it's hard to maintain because with Etsy, there's all these rules that you have to keep up with. And if you don't answer back in, I think, 12 hours, or you get dinged for that. There's so many things. Etsy's so different now that I actually stopped.
Hated when they implemented that you had to reply to customers in 24 hours. That literally was so stressful to me.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that anyone can leave a bad review and you can't even...
And that was like another reason why I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, this is really stressful.
Yeah.
Wow. I had a similar thing on eBay. I had a thing where I was selling hair dye, and I was selling loads and loads of it, and it sort of became a business in itself, and it was just a random thing. And then one day a package just got delivered late and someone left me a bad review, and I went from top rated seller where all of my listings were on the first page to showing on like page 10 or something, and literally the entire income just disappeared overnight. Just gone.
Oh my
And this is why
God.
I'm always saying to people, like, the best thing you can do is get your own website.
That was
if you don't own the customers on any, well, you don't own customers anyway, but you definitely don't own the customers on Etsy or eBay. Like, they are Etsy's customers. You need to kind of take control.
On Etsy, a lot of people will get back then when I was selling on Etsy, they'll get your shop confused with someone else's shop because they'll advertise someone else's products under your shop, and then they'll click on that product and then like go to message you and ask you about a product you don't even have.
I did want to say that when I talk about enoughness, I'm not saying don't challenge yourself, because there is things that you must do that are going to feel uncomfortable, like this, for example, that will help you so much if you just push yourself to do it. So it's not about not doing anything and just accepting life as it is. It's more growing at your pace that's comfortable to you and doing things that you feel are helping you, I guess.
And I also feel like doing something like this helps like me mentally improve rather than like physically. Like, instead of physically, like, I have to make something and physically hurt myself, like mixing this, I'm like still expanding by being able to like socialize with people and get through the anxiety of being able to do something like this. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, when I worked in my other business and I didn't have staff, it was very lonely, like really lonely.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
I've gotten very lonely over the years of doing what I do. Very lonely.
Same.
That's why I have a lot of cats.
No one can relate. Same. Yeah.
We've all got cats. It's great.
Yeah, I love cats.
They're so obsessed with me. They won't go away.
Oh, it's because you rescued them, you see.
I know. They're obsessed with me.
They'll go get their friends, you end up with loads of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple more outside. It's hard to find people that relate.
Yeah.
It is. It is, because your friends, you can see your friends' eyes glaze over when you chat about your business, or at least mine do.
No, same.
But you know, it's nice having other people in the community to chat about that, understand, like, when a soap seizes, how frustrating that is, or, you know, when you've made a lotion and it splits and you're really annoyed and you try and work the problem, like, there's no one to talk to about it because everyone's just like, I don't care.
Yeah. And I guess that's another piece of advice is if you want to do this, it's important to be involved in the community and to get to know other people doing it too, so you're not feeling so lonely.
Yeah, and to not be afraid to ask for help as well, because I think
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of there is a lot of pride about, and I do see often, you'll post a formula on YouTube and then someone will come along and go, oh well, I think you should have done this, and you're like, well,
Uh-huh.
actually,
Oh
if you watch the
gosh.
whole video, I did.
Yes.
But
There's so
you know,
many opinions, right? Yeah.
everyone
Mm-hmm.
has opinions, but I think as long as you just try your best and you're not afraid to ask for help, then it's a really fun
Yeah.
community to be part of. And I do find that, 90% of the comments and things are nice. Like the community,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
it is one of the nicer ones, I think.
It really
Um,
is.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't have the community, I don't know where I would be because I would feel very lonely. But being able to
Agreed.
actually
Yeah.
have that community online makes you feel like there's tons of people there actually enjoying it.
well, I would have
Yep.
invited you both round for coffee to do this, but it would have been a bit of a swim. So another time.
Yeah, I think
Um,
these talks are
but
important, and yeah, thank you for organizing.
That's all right. It
Yeah,
was just
thank
nice to chat
you.
to you both, really. The only other things we've got, there's a couple of comments. There was the one I said earlier, someone was happy to see the three of us chatting together. Someone else said, no question, just like seeing YouTubers not competing, which I think we
Oh,
covered
that's so
earlier.
cute.
And
Oh.
someone else has said, please do a live with all of you, which
Oh God.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
is too scary.
We could try it
But
someday. I think it'd
thank
be
you, whoever
funny.
said that. Just get
I think
loads
you
of
could
us,
do
the
that
whole
on YouTube,
community.
right?
I
Yeah,
think
you
you
can
can.
splice
Mm-hmm.
different things on YouTube. Maybe
Yeah,
someday,
it's a bit
once we
scary, and I
figure it
think we
out.
need to sort out the Wi-Fi. But it does get you used to speaking to people a little bit more. But yeah, I do. I think YouTube is just a community of introverts.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
But on that note, if there's anything either of you want to add that you don't think we've covered, I know it's been a bit sort of all over the place. I'm not used to doing these. It's been nice to chat.
Yes.
But sort
Oh
of
no.
parting words for anyone looking to do what we're doing is just, I
I would
guess,
say one thing is to just be kind to yourself and don't feel like just because you're not at the same stage as another soap maker that you're watching, that you can't do it. And even though it seems like such a long bridge, I would say keep going and keep trying because it can lead you to really fantastic places. So just be kind to yourself and yeah,
play the long game.
play the long game.
Yeah.
Sustainability. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
and
the same.
someone else's success doesn't take away from your own success either.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
I
Yeah.
know
Stop
that
comparing.
comparison to other people, you'll see someone else like thriving, and then you'll think, oh, like they are, so I can't. Which when you say that out loud, that makes no sense at all. But when you see
Yeah.
it, you get yourself down. But honestly, like what I've noticed is the more people I see in the formulating community, it's almost easier for me to grow now because there's like more people doing it, more people looking for it. So I think
Yes.
even
Yeah.
just more people, more people doing what you're doing doesn't take away from your own success.
Yeah. Everyone's got to
Agreed.
start somewhere, and everyone
Yep.
brings their own thing to the table. So,
And then,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes, like, if you start, like, I mean, you can also think of it this way, like, if you do feel like you're starting below other people, you have all those people to look up to. You have so much, like lessons there for you that you can learn from and
Yeah.
take from them to implement to your own rather than feeling like you're the first person doing it and feeling more lost.
Yes.
So you
Yeah,
can
I
take
think
like
it's great
anything that
seeing
might
people
feel
thrive.
negative in your
Yeah.
mind and switch it to a positive too. It just depends on which way you look at it. But I know the internet
Yeah.
does such a thing at making everybody think that they're the worst person ever for some reason, even though everybody's great.
yeah. I think, honestly, anyone watching this, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It matters what you think.
Yes.
And it
That
doesn't
is
matter
it.
what
That's a good
anyone
note.
else is
That is
doing.
it. Yeah.
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 But I will sign off for you guys on YouTube. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a bit all over the place, but I hope you got something out of it, and hopefully we'll do something like this again. Don't forget to check out Tara and Jerika's YouTube channels, as if you don't know what they are already. I'll link them below anyway, and make sure you watch all of their content and give Tara those views back to where they were before. And yeah, watch mine as well because I'm the little channel.
Let us know what we should chat about in the next chat that we have
Oh, that's such a
together.
good idea. We
Yeah,
should
good
think
luck
about that.
editing this. I feel like it's going to be really hard.
So Tara was right. That was fun. Understatement to edit. But I hope you very much enjoyed it. I didn't really sign off very well, so I'll say again, thank you very much to Jerika and to Tara for joining me for that chat. It was really good fun. We would like to do more. If you'd like to see more, then like Tara said, please leave a comment below and let us know what you'd like us to chat about. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.